we do see polling that doesn't poll well in the economy. The recent Fox polling said 52% say the economy is worse under this administration. You've got unemployment at the highest rate in 4 years. Groceries made a big jump in the last term. So how is that? You're looking forward with these plans that you just talked about. When will people feel that, Mr.
Well,
Trump,
when the factories start opening. I mean, right now we're building them. And, Fox polling, I have to tell you, I've told you before, it's the worst polling I've ever had. Fox polling, I've told Rupert Murdoch, go get yourself a new pollster because he stinks. And this is for years now.
Right, when you don't like the numbers, what do? Fire them. We saw that with the jobs. Trump returned to his tried and true excuses yesterday when Martha MacCallum confronted him with those less than flattering poll numbers. According to him, the issue is not his handling of the economy. The real issue is Fox News' polling abilities. So he says they got to fire him. I told Rupert they got to fire him. Unfortunately for Donald Trump, Fox News is far from the only outlet with pretty terrible numbers for the president. A Washington Post Ipsos poll just found that 64% of Americans disapprove of how Trump is handling tariffs, while 59% disapprove of how he is handling the economy. Those inherent baked-in numbers of about 40% are always remarkable to me. Do you approve or disapprove of the way Trump is handling each of the following? Tariffs on important goods, 34 approve, 64 disapprove. The situation involving Russia and Ukraine, 38 to 60. I don't know where the 38 is. What are you approving of? And then the economy, 40 to 59, as we see there. Additionally, more than 2/3 of Americans describe the state of the economy as not so good or poor. An AP NORC poll found that 60% of adults think Trump has gone too far in imposing new tariffs on other countries. So you see there, gone too far, 60, about right, 34, and not far enough, 5. So that, again, 34 and 5, you have that 39. That's pretty, things are fine. But Trump, of course, has an excuse for everything, and this is no different. It basically boils down to the fact that he thinks Americans are too dumb to understand his genius. Listen.
With regard to people's feeling about the economy and the tariffs, and some polls show that people are concerned about the tariffs as well.
That's only because they don't understand the word tariff. I mean, look, again, we have all this money, trillions of dollars pouring into our country only because of the tariffs. I mean, I'd like to say because of November 5th, the election, but it's really because of the tariffs. We have right now, when you look at our numbers, the investment that's being made in our country is, again, Biden's at $250 billion, right, and we're at 17 trillion.
Yeah, that's a big number.
No, nobody's ever heard of a number like that.
Well, no one's ever heard of a number like that because it isn't really the number. It's that $17 trillion figure. $17 trillion figure is a wild overestimate. But it's not just economic issues that people aren't happy with. The Washington Post Ipsos survey finds that Americans disapprove of Trump's performance on crime by a 10 percentage point margin and oppose him ordering the National Guard to other cities by a 4-point margin. And overall, Trump is what they say underwater. 56% of Americans disapprove of the way he's handling his job, while 43% approve, a negative 13-point margin. So you can see it right there. September, 43% to 56%. Those numbers have stayed relatively solid throughout his presidency. Hard to believe he only took office in February. We are, do some math for me, John, about 8% into this, 8 months into this. That's what it sounds like.
We're 9 months in.
9 months.
So children that were conceived by drunk, depressed couples on inauguration night are being born into a hellscape around this week.
Well, we look forward to welcoming those babies. I'm going to get to you guys in 1 second. Let me just give you one more poll. The AP NORC numbers were even more bleak for these poor babies. Overall, 39% of adults approve of the way Trump is handling his job as president, and 60% disapprove. Those are pretty hard, consistent numbers. Those are numbers that haven't really wavered, Woz. What do you make of all of this and what the president's options are?
It's kind of remarkable, honestly, how similar the Trump situation is to Biden in terms of the messaging out of the White House is Oh, you guys are just too dumb to realize how great the economy is. Look at our GDP growth. Look at our stock market. Look how great the economy is going for everyone. When the reality is, most Americans don't own stock, don't have a 401k. They're not realizing those gains in our economy. And yet they still go to the pump and see a gas situation that's hard for them. They go to the grocery store, go try to buy a steak. I promise you, the numbers will shock you at the grocery store. They know that housing prices steadily continue to go up. And the same if you want to go out and buy a car, if you want to go out and rent an apartment, you name it, like the cost of living, childcare, you name it, it's not getting better. So it doesn't matter what Joe Biden says. Out of his economic people say, oh, you guys just don't get how great and hot the economy is. It doesn't matter what Trump says when he fires the jobs reports guy or he goes on Fox News and he gaslights the country. It doesn't matter. Like, people are gonna go out and notice that materially their lives are getting worse. And then that's before we even talk about wage stagnation, which is a 50-year problem in this country. So Trump can go out and do his normal bluster, but it's not going to work.
Well, here's the thing, John. In listening to Woz and what he's saying about this and this bluster that we know, Woz says it's not going to work. It did work in last November. It worked, and I was standing next to people who said to me, my eggs are too expensive. Mind you, people who just spent like $300 at the tents behind them to buy MAGA scarves and hats and buttons and all of that, but their egg prices were too high, and they felt like they were paying too much in gas. So I think Woz is right. The bluster's not going to work. It doesn't have to. He's not running for re-election again, but there is an election next year. How does this square for Trump? How is he able to change this narrative when he's telling people they don't understand the economy? This is what it is right now. What happens now?
Joe Biden had the same problem Barack Obama had, a recovery that was real on paper, but it didn't translate into the pocketbooks of normal people. And America for 30 years has been turning into this reality show I call food, medicine, rent, pick two. But the reality was under Biden, who did massive investment, the first 2 years of Joe Biden's presidency, we'll study someday to see how you actually, do it FDR style. We got to have the lowest rate of childhood poverty in history in 2021, which shows we can do that if we want to. Government policies got us there. But Donald Trump has blown everything he inherited from Fred Trump, Barack Obama, and now Joe Biden. That's 3 inheritances in a row. Don't forget, as unsatisfying as it was, America was handling inflation better than every other capitalist society in the G8. I mean, we really were the envy of the world, as crappy as it was. And now 2/3 of the Americans say the economy is poor. It's only 9 months, or not so good, which is how Melania describes the marriage. 70%, Mr. Shure, say Donald Trump's tariffs make things more expensive. And the other 30% are still trying to figure out why Big Macs cost $19 now. He can't do anything. It's too locked in. And these Republicans, like brave little Ted Cruz, are beginning to do the dance they're going to have to do of putting space between themselves and this guy just enough, because they all know that the tariff problem is not going to get better. The Fed has reported that consumer spending has flatlined or dropped, and prices have gone up in every single sector. Add on to that Epstein's not going away. So if I was Jimmy Fallon, I'd lock the doors right now, because this guy's going to need a lot of scapegoating, and Hunter Biden will pay.
Yeah, there's no question. I couldn't agree.
But again, the Republicans are. I'm sorry, Mike. Well, the Republicans are terrified because they know that Trump's not going to be on the ballot this year. And there's folks that come in from the mountains, or in from the woods, or down from the hills, or in from the swamp when Mr. Trump from the TV's on the ballot. Those folks didn't come in 2018.
Of course they didn't.
They didn't come in 2022. And the midterm's not going to have the riz to get those people. The ones who think climate change is fake, but pro wrestling is real and vaccines make you gay. A lot of them are not going to bother showing up.
Right. That's true. And even if the maxim is, well, Trump is always on the ballot, he's not on the ballot unless he's on the ballot. So some of his ideas may be, and some of his passions may be, and some of the people that came out to see him, maybe, I've said it before, I feel like that there's a part of Donald Trump which is like Tiger Woods. I'll watch golf if Tiger Woods is golfing. I will not watch golf if Tiger Woods isn't golfing. And it's not because I have other things to do with my day, and I'll watch, other sports. I just, he's the star that gets me out, and Donald Trump is the star that gets a lot of his voters and supporters out. John, I want to ask you this. One of the numbers that was kind of a back number here that we didn't talk about so much because we talked about the economy and those favorable and unfavorable numbers was 10%. He's underwater 10% on crime, right? This
on
whole
crime.
On crime.
His favorite issue is like his best subject at school was detention. You're underwater on crime.
Exactly, but this is what I'm saying.
How many black people does this guy have to abuse to satisfy
his policy, though? All these policies of going to the cities and flexing the muscle of the military in our cities and picking up immigrants, that's to deflect, in my estimation, from really poor economic numbers and saying, all right, this is the winning strategy. Crime's the winning strategy. He's not even winning with that, is he?
Yeah, but look how Pritzker made him back down from Chicago, and now he's going to go pick on Memphis because it's actually a blacker city, but they do have a Republican attorney general who will let him do this cosplay and let him take Marines and National Guard troopers like away from their jobs and their families and their local economies, so they can be like the troops in DC and do yard work while wearing camouflage with orange vests. The camouflage with orange vests on top really is the metaphor for this strategy of this entire administration, man.
Yeah.
What we saw in DC.
It's not even that good a look.
I mean,
it's not even that good a look.
43%. 33% disapproves. This whole administration is like Jägermeister already. They're regretting it the next morning. And these idiots, he's going to be doing everything he can do. But look how scared they are. They're cheating in Texas 15 months early. That's how scared they are. And the prices are going up in Walmart. And Donald Trump is tap dancing to keep the 32% that brought him happy. He's not even trying to reach beyond his original base.
No, he's not. And what he's trying to do to keep the Congress, obviously, is to change the rules. And he's got his deputies to do it in Texas. Woz, I want to talk about something that John brought up very quickly because we've got a lot to cover today. But he said, John was talking about how on paper this economy was great. Biden's economy is great. You were saying paper doesn't matter.
Better than others.
It matters what's at home, right? Yeah, I'm sorry. The Biden economy is great. And
in terms of recovering from COVID is all I'm saying.
No, understood. But I'm talking about, I agree with what you're saying, John. I think it's absolutely true. I mean, it's actually irrefutable. It's true. But how do you drive that home? How do you drive that home in an election? And what Woz is saying, that all the prices are too high. I don't own stocks. Most people don't own stocks, et cetera, et cetera. Where's the way out of that?
Well, I mean, it would be wealth redistribution. It'd be a radical change to the status quo. But that's not on the table for either party. And that's what I meant, honestly, by it's not going to work. My guy, Daniel Bessner, has a theory about, our current political moment, in that, like, if nobody's willing to actually tackle the paradigm that exists head on, we're just going to have these fluctuations where incumbents just keep getting kicked out. I don't think in 2028, Trump is going to create some fantastic economy and some fantastic new American century that everybody's so happy, and a JD goofy ass Vance is going to come in and ride that wave to the presidency. I just don't see that happening for them. And I think for all of the credit that Trump gets for dominating the last 10 years of American politics, he's just dominating discourse. Nothing's changed, right? Like, Wall Street still owns the economy. The tech sector still owns the economy. We're still beholden to the same people we're beholden to. Like, the people who run and own the country still own it, and even more so. And I don't think that's gonna produce some results where even, people that are on the fringes of loving or supporting Trump to the point that they'll go out and vote for him are going to be super enthusiastic about him throughout his presidency.
Yeah, I agree. And you brought up, John brought up Ted Cruz, and you're starting to see the fissures that naturally happen. You brought up JD Vance. I think the passing of Charlie Kirk really, tragic and all on the political side hurts JD Vance immensely because it emboldens others to go against MAGA in whatever ways they want to. Because if JD Vance is the standard bearer of MAGA, I can promise you that Ted Cruz and Josh Hawley and Marco Rubio and Tom Cotton and any other Republican who wants to be president will take that in any day of the week. They would love to run against JD Vance, especially if he is weakened without having all of what what Charlie Kirk brought to the table there. So I think it's interesting.
I think Tucker Carlson's going to do more against them right now on this issue than Charlie Kirk's murder.
I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree, but it really takes a lot of infrastructure out of JD Vance's background. So anyway, we have.
Well, isn't it going to be joyful watching MAGA tear that guy apart with his little eyeliner, his fudgy fingers? Oh, they can't wait. They can't wait to tell him, no, you're not captain now.
I'm so glad I didn't wear eyeliner today.
This guy is so hated. I heard the couch made him go sleep on the bed. That's how hated he is.
That's what's so great about John is like your face hurts when you're done with the show.
Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows. Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.